Today we're diving into a topic that affects more people than you might imagine. Why so many of us struggle to move past living paycheck to paycheck. Some of the most common mistakes and mindsets around money can keep us spinning in circles, never truly getting ahead. Yet, with a few practical insights, you can begin to shift your financial habits. If you've ever felt frustrated by never having enough at the end of the month, or if you're tired of wondering where all your money went, stay tuned. By the end of this video, you'll have 5 powerful strategies to break the cycle and set yourself on a more secure path. Let's get started. Let's begin with one of the biggest obstacles, not knowing where your money goes. Whether you earn a little or a lot, you can't improve something you barely track. When you don't pay close attention to your inflows and outflows, your paycheck ends up vanishing into thin air, leaving you stressed and puzzled. Imagine trying to fix your car without having a clue what part is broken. That's exactly what happens when you attempt to remedy your financial situation without clarity. Some people hold a vague idea that they spend too much on dining out or entertainment, but without actual numbers, you can't make informed decisions. Tracking your expenses and income doesn't need to be complicated. You can do it with a notebook, a spreadsheet, or an app. The point is to record and categorize where every dollar goes. Even if this sounds tedious, it becomes second nature once you build the habit. Then you can spot patterns you never noticed. Maybe it's daily coffee stops, recurring subscriptions, or impulse purchases on items you don't even remember ordering. When you track money consistently, you gain control. You can look at the end of the month's totals and see how much went to housing, groceries, transportation, and so on. This information is the first step toward making better choices. It's not about punishing yourself or feeling guilty. It's about awareness. You'd be surprised how much difference that awareness alone can make. So if you're feeling stuck financially, remember, clarity is power. Start by writing down what's coming in and what's going out. It's a foundational step to ensure you don't remain stuck in the dark. Next, let's address a common misconception. Many of us focus solely on cutting expenses and living within our means. Yes, keeping expenses under control is vital, but there's another side of the equation we often forget: increasing your income. When you rely on a single paycheck and that paycheck just barely covers your needs, it's challenging to build wealth or even a comfortable cushion. Consider how you might add another stream of income or negotiate for a better salary. It could be anything from freelancing to starting a side business, from babysitting on the weekends to driving people around using ride-sharing apps. Your options might be more varied than you think. There's also the long-term approach of upskilling. Maybe you've wanted to learn digital marketing, coding, or graphic design. Gaining new skills can qualify you for better paying opportunities. Once you begin to see that you have leverage beyond your regular 9-to-5 job, that sense of helplessness starts to fade. When you shift some of your energy into income growth, you're no longer forced to squeeze every penny just to stay afloat. That mindset change alone can inspire you to think creatively. Yes, cut back on wasteful spending where possible, but don't forget to look for ways to expand what's coming in. Over time, having multiple sources of income provides a safety net. If one area goes through a rough patch, like job loss or seasonal downturns, you've still got something else to rely on. So, if you've been stuck thinking there's no way to afford the kind of life you want, consider how you might generate more earnings. By looking at both sides of the money equation, expenses and income, you open up new paths toward breaking free from perpetual broke status. Now, let's talk about the unexpected, because it happens to all of us. Whether it's your car suddenly needing repairs, medical bills popping up, or your laptop crashing right when you need it most, life has a way of throwing curveballs. If you're not prepared, each emergency pushes you further into financial stress. The best defense is building an emergency fund. Set aside a certain amount of money. Some people aim for a specific figure, like 3 to 6 months of basic expenses. That might sound overwhelming if you're starting from zero, but it's more manageable if you tackle it systematically. You could start by saving a small fixed amount every payday, something you won't even miss once it's set up automatically. Why bother? Because without that buffer, each unexpected event forces you to dip into credit cards or loans. Then you get buried under high-interest debt, making it harder to climb out of the hole. This process repeats, creating a cycle of financial emergencies. An emergency fund isn't just about money, it's also about peace of mind. When you know you have some reserves, you're less likely to panic if your hours get cut at work or if your car needs a new transmission. You can handle the crisis, then get back on track without derailing your overall goals. So if you haven't started your rainy day fund yet, consider setting up an automatic transfer. Even a modest amount can pile up over time. You'll be surprised how quickly a few dollars each day or week can turn into a real safety net. Let's move on to the concept of debt. Credit cards, personal loans, and car financing are just part of everyday life for many. Although debt can sometimes be unavoidable, like taking out a mortgage to buy a home, it's crucial to understand how to manage it effectively, because it can quickly spiral out of control. If you routinely carry high balances on your credit cards, you're paying for the convenience of spending money you don't actually have. And when the interest rates pile up, you end up paying far more than the original purchase price of whatever you charged to that card. One of the traps is seeing a line of credit as extra money to spend. It might give you the illusion of a boosted lifestyle, dinners out, new clothes, gadgets, but you're actually dipping into your future earnings. For many people, this leads to an endless cycle. You make your minimum payments, carry a balance, and never see that total drop significantly. A useful step is to categorize what could be considered more productive debt. For For example, taking out a reasonable loan to develop new skills, or perhaps buying a property within your means that may appreciate in value over time, can be more defensible moves. On the other hand, maxing out a credit card for a trip you can't afford becomes a lingering financial drain. If you already have a lot of debt, try tackling the highest interest ones first. By focusing on clearing those balances, you free yourself from the massive interest charges. Some people also find success using a debt snowball or debt avalanche approach. Whichever method suits you, the main idea is to become intentional about crushing that debt. Remember, credit can be a useful tool if used wisely, but for a lot of people, unchecked debt is the single biggest reason they never break out of living broke. If that resonates with you, it's time to reevaluate how you're using credit and begin taking steps to reduce or eliminate those burdensome balances. Finally, let's discuss goal setting and the power of having a deadline. Many people know they should save more or invest more, but they don't get around to it because there's no urgency. Without a real finish line or target date, it's easy to put things off indefinitely. One way to spark motivation is to define what you're aiming for. Instead of telling yourself you'd like to save a certain amount someday, break it down into tangible figures and timelines. For instance, decide you want to save a set amount in 3 months, 6 months, or by the end of the year. You can do the same with debt reduction or income goals. When you have a specific target, you can work backward and figure out what needs to happen each month to get there. Maybe that means reducing unnecessary subscriptions or switching to a more cost-effective phone plan. Perhaps it's dedicating time each weekend to a side gig. Or maybe it's tracking your progress and adjusting your approach if you're not hitting your monthly milestones. Goal setting doesn't just keep you organized, it also helps you navigate unexpected challenges. If a surprise expense appears, you already have a plan in place and you can reevaluate how much you can still put toward your goal that month. That way, you stay on course, even if the pace slows momentarily. It's also worth celebrating small wins as you go. If you manage to knock off a fraction of your debt or hit a minor savings milestone, acknowledge it. Those little moments of success keep you motivated to continue the journey. So, if you feel like you've been wandering aimlessly on your financial path, define where you want to be and create clear deadlines. That clarity and sense of purpose might be the key to breaking your old habits and forging a new financial reality. By now, you've seen how a few common issues, lack of clarity, ignoring income potential, failing to prepare for emergencies, mishandling debt, and going goal-free, can keep people stuck in a never-ending cycle of broke. The positive takeaway is that you're never truly stuck unless you choose to be. Even small steps, done consistently, can lead to significant changes over time. Remember that you're in the driver's seat. Whether you're looking to track your expenses, diversify your income, set aside an emergency fund, reduce toxic debt, or set clear goals, each action pulls you further from the financial quicksand. It might feel overwhelming at first, but no major transformation happens overnight. The key is to begin, however small that first step might be. Over the next few months, aim to solidify your money management habits. After all, breaking the cycle of living broke isn't just about having more money in the bank. It's about living with less stress, more freedom, and the knowledge that you can handle whatever life throws your way. Thanks for watching, and remember, with the right plan and consistent action, anyone can turn their financial situation around. Take what you've learned today, put it into practice, and watch how different your life looks a year from now.